Hey guys, it's Alexandra from Cre8tioncrochet.com. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a single crochet scarf using worsted weight yarn. This is my Shay Scarf, and you'll find the crochet pattern for it linked in the description box below. I'm going to be sharing instructions on how to make 4 sizes: toddler, child, adult small, and adult large. For my scarf, I'm using Red Heart Super Saver worsted weight yarn. That's a number 4 yarn. I've picked 3 colors for mine to do a fun purple color block scarf. I will include the names of these shades in the description box below, but I have a lighter purple, a medium purple, and a darker purple. Gauge is not essential for this project unless the finished size is essential to you, so you can use any worsted weight yarn out of your stash. Together with this worsted weight yarn, I'm going to be using an H8 5mm crochet hook. I ordered this ergonomic crochet hook from Sienna's Boutique on Etsy. I'll link it in the description box below. It's one of my favorite crochet hooks to use. I have several from her shop. They're all really great quality and they've helped my hands out tremendously. I want to talk about the border really quick. As you're working around, if you see that your stitches are ruffling around the sides, that's caused from a change in tension. And an easy fix for that is just to go down 1 hook size to a G6 4.25mm hook just for the border by itself. So an H8 hook for the body, a G6 hook for the border, and that will correct the ruffle. Another option is just to work the whole thing in the H hook and then block your finished scarf. If the finished size of this scarf is essential to you, then you'll want to go ahead and have a soft tape measure so you can measure across. That's going to be the best way to take gauge. After about 6 rows or so, you'll measure your width, and that'll be close to the finished size of the scarf. The border adds 1/2 inch to it. If you don't want to add a border to your scarf, then I suggest adding 2 chains to the foundation chain. That way it will finish about the same size. Height-wise, we're just working simple single crochet rows, so you can stop at any point when it gets to the size that you're looking for. I'll include instructions for the color block pattern if you want to do that, but if you're working up one solid color, then you can just start working, and once you get close to the height you think you're going to want, then you can pull out your soft tape measure and see how far away you are. So I'll be showing you how to work up the single crochet pattern, providing charts that show how many chains you're going to want to have depending on the size that you're working and how many rows you're going to want to have as well. I will show you how to add a single crochet border around. Then we'll weave in our ends and the scarf will be ready to go. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with a slip knot, so I have the yarn pulled over my fingers here. I'm going to wrap it around my index finger 2 times, holding tension with my thumb and my middle finger. Then I'll pull the loop on the left up over the other one but not off my finger. Then I'll pull the loop on the left up over the other one and off my finger. Take my crochet hook, insert it into the loop on my finger and pull it off. I'll hold the working yarn with my right hand, and in my left I'm going to pull that tail end so that knot goes to normal tension. I already finished working my scarf, so I'm just going to be working a small sample of 10 stitches. But I'll go ahead and put up a chart now showing how many chains you want to have depending on the size that you're working. To chain, we're going to yarn over our hook and pull through the loop. Yarn over and pull through the loop on our hook. Yarn over, pull through the loop on our hook. That gives us these V shapes here. Each one of these is a chain, so right now we have 3 chains. Continue working until you have all your chains done. Now that our chains are done, we're going to single crochet into the second chain from the hook and each chain all the way across. So we don't count the loop that's on our hook, we skip this first one, and in that second one I'm going to insert my hook right into the center of it, yarn over, pull through. I have 2 loops on my hook, then I'll yarn over and pull through both loops. Insert my hook right into the center of the next chain, yarn over and pull through. 2 loops on my hook, yarn over, pull through both loops. Insert my hook into the center of the next chain, yarn over and pull through. 2 loops on my hook, yarn over and pull through both loops. That gives us 3 single crochets here. each one of these V shapes on the top is going to be a stitch. 1, 2, 3 stitches. You'll continue single crocheting into each chain all the way across, and at the end of this row, the total number of stitches that you're going to have is going to be one less than what you've chained. And there's row 1 done. All the remaining rows are going to be worked exactly the same as this next row. So we're going to chain 1 and turn. Then we're going to single crochet into the very first stitch and each stitch all the way across. Insert your hook into that first stitch, picking up both loops of that V shape. Yarn over and pull through. Yarn over and pull through both loops to complete your first single crochet. Continue single crocheting all the way across. In this row and all the remaining rows, you're going to have the same number of stitches that you had in row 1. And we'll continue working in that same manner to build our scarf. Chain 1, turn, single crochet into the very first stitch, and each stitch all the way across. Now, if you'd like to change colors to do the color block like I've done, then you'll work up to the stitch just before your last stitch of the row. In that last stitch, you're going to insert your hook, yarn over and pull through. You have 2 loops on your hook, and you'll pause here. The color change is going to take place in the last yarn over of the previous stitch. So since we want our next row to be in the new color, this is our previous stitch, and the last step of the stitch where the next step is going to be yarn over and pull through. So we're pausing here. I'm going to put that down for a moment. Grab my new color, make a loop, leaving a tail end long enough I can comfortably weave in. Then I'll hold the tension of the loops here on my hook with my right hand. Put this loop onto my hook. This is going to count as the last yarn over, and then we're going to pull it through both of those loops. That completes the single crochet in this medium purple, and now I'm ready to start with the lighter purple for my next row. Then we'll drop the tail end, chain 1 in our new color, and turn, and then we can single crochet into that very first stitch and each stitch all the way across the row. And as you work, those stitches may come loose because they're not secured yet. You can just pull on your tail ends and it will tighten those down to normal tension. You can fasten off that first color, leaving a tail end long enough to weave in. I'm going to go ahead and put up a chart showing how many rows you're going to want to have depending on the size that you're working, and I will break that down into if you just want to work a solid color for the entire scarf, or if you want to do the color block as I've done in this scarf pattern. I'm just going to work one more row here so I have 4, and then I'm going to show you how to add a border. To add a border to your scarf, after you've finished your last stitch of your last row, chain 1 and turn, single crochet into the very first stitch, and each stitch all the way across until you get to the last stitch. Now I've worked across here. I have just one stitch left, And in this stitch we're going to increase. That means we're going to work multiple stitches there so that the corner will lay flat. So into this last stitch I'm going to work a single crochet, then I'll do a chain 2 and single crochet back into that same exact stitch. And I like to do a chain 2 here because it gives me a little bit more square of a corner. For a more rounded corner you can do a chain 1, or you could do 3 single crochets if you want a solid corner there. For a more square corner you would do single crochet, half double crochet, single crochet. There's a lot of different options that you can do, but my go-to's usually single crochet, chain 2, single crochet. When you're working down the side of your scarf, you're going to work into the stitches as close to the side edge as possible. You don't want to work into the spaces in between the stitches because that's going to create very large holes on the side. There's also going to be 2 different types of stitches you're going to see, and you'll repeat those stitches all the way across, and that's just from where you've turned your rows. So the next stitch looks like an actual stitch, inserting your hook into the center, breaking it in half. You have 2 loops on your hook, looks like the V shape that you're used to working into, and then you can single crochet. The next stitch looks just like a hole. You'll insert your hook there. There are 2 loops there, they're very tight so it's hard to see. Then you'll yarn over and pull through and complete your single crochet. The next one looks like a V shape, insert into the center of it, picking up those 2 loops there, and complete your single crochet. The next one would look like a hole. If you've done your color block, you might want to change colors to go with it. So here is the last row before the next color. I would work the first half of my stitch there, pause with the 2 loops, grab the other color that matches the next one, put that loop on my hook, pull it through. That completes the single crochet in that lighter purple color. It's going to match that row, and then in the next row here I would work with my other purple color. And you do that on both sides. You'll work all the way down until you get to the very last stitch, and in that last stitch we're going to work another increase the same way as we did in the first corner, and you'll work whatever stitch combination you've chosen for the first corner. So I'm going to single crochet, chain 2, then single crochet back into that same exact stitch. And as you work here, the stitch might open up. That tail is not secured yet, so you can just hold on to the chains and then pull the tail end and it will close that hole up. I'm going to drop that tail end, I'll weave it in later. Then just single crochet into each stitch there along the bottom in the opposite side of the foundation chain, and all the stitches look very close to how they did when you originally worked in there. Then I have one more stitch left there, and I'm going to increase with a single crochet, chain 2, and single crochet. Now we have just one more side here to work up. The stitches look a little bit different here because we're looking at the opposite sides of them, but the same exact concept. As I work, I'm going to tighten where I've changed colors and pull it to the back. Remember, as you work, you want to get as close to the side edge as possible so that it doesn't create large gaps here. So break your stitch in half, picking up the loops from the V shape on your hook, and complete your single crochet. Next one looks like a hole. Insert my hook there and complete my single crochet. Next one here is the V shape. Insert in the center and complete a single crochet. And continue working all the way up the side. Here as you work, you'll change colors just as you've done on the first side if you've changed them to match the sections. Once you get back to the beginning, you'll work one single crochet into the same exact stitch as where you worked the first one, and then slip stitch join. So insert your hook into the very first stitch, picking up both loops of that V shape, then yarn over, pull through that stitch and the loop that's on your hook. And that will complete your round. After slip stitching my round, I'm going to fasten off with the tail end long enough that I can comfortably weave in. Then I'm going to pull up on this loop to break it. I like to bring my tail to the wrong side with the rest of them. So I'll insert my hook from the back to the front into the stitch I just slip stitched to, then yarn over with the tail end and pull it through to the back. Now it's time to grab our tapestry needles and weave in our ends. Alright, I have my tapestry needle here. I'm going to go ahead and thread my last tail end into the needle. All the ends are going to be woven in the same manner. Instead of picking up the whole entire stitch on my needle, I always break the stitch in half by inserting my needle right into the center of it. And I do the same thing when I exit as well. This is going to help capture my yarn better. I like to work 3 passes. If you feel comfortable after 2, you can fasten off. If you feel like you need to work a 4th one, go ahead and do it. It's whatever you feel the most secure with your ends. So here in a nearby stitch, I'm going to break it in half. I'm going to run it vertically here. I like to run vertically instead of horizontally so it doesn't bunch up the fabric or prohibit any of the stretch. In a project like a scarf, you don't really need the stretch, but it can bunch up your fabric and create an extra bulkiness. It's easier to hide when you do it vertically. So I've run up through several stitches here. I like to hold my fabric in between my thumb and my middle finger as I pull through. Then I can give it a tug. It doesn't bunch up the fabric as much. And then use my fingers to manipulate the fabric if I need to so it lays naturally. Insert into a nearby stitch, run back in the opposite direction under several of the stitches I just finished working, breaking my stitch in half as I exit, and pull through, give it a tug, use my fingers if I need to. 3rd pass, inserting into a nearby stitch, breaking it in half, running up through several stitches I just finished working, and breaking my last stitch in half as I exit. Sometimes it's tough to pull your needle through. Jewelry pliers are a great tool to have on hand. I can put this flat part right here, right over my needle. You want to make sure that the eye of your needle is flat so that you can see directly down it. Then hold the fabric and pull through. In this case, my yarn already came out, but I just wanted to say use caution when pulling through because if it's stuck and you pull too hard, it can break the eye of your needle. Then I just pull the rest of the way with my fingers anyway. Manipulate the fabric, and then I'm ready to fasten off. Here in the middle where I've switched colors, I have a lot of tail ends from my border, but I'm going to work all those the same exact way. I'm going to work the rest of mine off camera. The ones along the border, I'm still going to work to hide them vertically. That might mean going over an extra row so I don't add extra bulkiness. You can also work it through the border, so there's one that can go through the border, one through the next row, one through the row after that. Guys, thanks so much for watching my video. You'll find the crochet pattern for this linked in the description box below. Please smash that like button and hit subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next one.